Hi, this is Bobby Ryan of the Detroit Red Wings, and you are listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 80 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Schulz. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good, man. I got to go down to the beach and experience some great beach weather. It was 54 degrees and pouring rain the entire time. So um, glad I drove 3 hours each way for that. But no, it was nice. It was good to get out of the house regardless of where I was. You know, with me working from home, I needed to get out. Like I needed to not be in the same place that is my home, living room, and office, 24/7. So
No, I can totally relate. I'm sure you made up for the weather with beverages, but we'll get into that a little later. And I'm going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host, Mac Vogel. How we doing?
Doing well. Nick, did you guys just drive to a beach house to do a bunch of puzzles then, I'm guessing? Like, what did you guys do
I went down on Thursday with my parents and just worked. I had like a half day Friday anyway. So I just worked from my parents' condo on Friday. But then like we had some good weather on Thursday and Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday, it was just miserable. Like we went to one bar, me and my girlfriend, and then two of our friends that were also down there. And it was just pouring the entire time. But
yeah.
It's a struggle.
I had a pretty nice weekend, mostly thanks to me and my roommate just got a grill, and
saw that.
We've been looking for a grill on like Facebook Marketplace for a little while, and then out of nowhere, my buddy was at like a work meeting, and he just casually mentioned that like me and him were looking for a grill, and his boss was like, "Oh, like my husband just got a brand fucking new one. Do you want the old one?" And we were like, yeah, and it's no shabby grill. It's a Genesis silver like Weber grill, like gas grill with like the open and closed tank and everything. And it was just free. So all we had to do was buy the tank. And as I'm sure you all can expect, I think we've had it for like 72 hours and we've literally used it like 5 times. We've used it every day, including one drunken like 1:45 a.m. grill sesh.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
I love that.
But no, it's been nice. I seriously doubt I'm gonna use my stove for like the rest of the summer.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was pretty shit weather over the weekend. Quite disappointed. We had some plans to perhaps, like go out on the water, do something kind of summery, but that got nixed. So, we're back. Of course, it's nice today and like 75 and sunny. That's just how the world works. But we have a lot to catch up on. As you guys know, we only did one episode last week, just complications with scheduling and Memorial Day and all that. So we're back. And we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to toss it across the screen to Nick to talk about the league news.
Well, I think before we do that, I just want to, and Harry, I think you can back me up on this one. Even though I did have horrible weather down the ocean this weekend with all the Uncle Donnies and Aunt Bonnies from Maryland. Oh my God, they were everywhere this weekend, everywhere. I was warm the entire time because I wore my Brackish Life gear.
There you go. I can't believe I almost forgot that. So let's take a minute to talk about Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the waters and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh, Brackish Life. Brackish Life has also teamed up with Rink to Reef Chesapeake Bay to preserve the area many of us call home. Rink to Reef repurposes broken hockey sticks into oyster restoration habitats. Brackish Life donates a portion of their proceeds to Rink to Reef to further preserve the beautiful Chesapeake Bay area. Support this great cause by checking out www.brackish.life today. I actually did wear mine yesterday to a cookout, and it was hot, but they got that UV protection as listed in the ad read. It's perfect. Great summer shirt. Can't recommend it enough. Nick, I'll let you take over for the news.
Yeah, absolutely. So the great one, Wayne Gretzky, is going to leave his job with the Oilers because why would you not want to get out of Edmonton right now? And as we expected, he's going to be a lead analyst on TNT's studio show beginning next season, according to Turner Sports. So it's pretty exciting. I mean, anytime you can get the great one in the spotlight and anytime you can get the greatest athlete out of your sport to participate in furthering the development of your sport, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think this is big just to have a guy like him not being in a behind the scenes role like we've seen him so often. Like, I mean, even before he was with the Oilers as a coach for like the Coyotes, you still don't get to like see him and hear him a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really like talking a whole bunch, but this will be good to have him like weighing in on like what everybody in the league currently is doing and stuff.
And like, no offense to like Edzo or Keith Jones or Mike Babcock now, but like, you know, that versus 90
credibility. Yeah, it's
a little bit different there.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get any more credible than that. So
right.
He'll be great in the media role. He's got a good charismatic trait to him. I think I used that right.
I don't think I'm ready for you to start like throwing words at me. I had like a 3-4 day weekend. I'm gonna need like a couple more days to like get up to speed before that happens.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. He'll be
there. We go. Washington Capitals general manager Brian McClellan said the club could trade forward Evgeny Kuznetsov this offseason if it finds the right deal. As we all know, Kuzi has been the subject of trade rumors. I would say like 90% spurred on by us in this podcast over like the last 4 weeks. But he basically ended up saying that I'll trade anyone if the deal is right that isn't named Backstrom or Ovechkin. So pretty much just reaffirming what everyone already understood, in my opinion. But speaking of another trade or not trade rumor, Conor McDavid, let's just get this out of the way now, is not being traded out of Edmonton. He has made that abundantly clear. And of course, as soon as the Oilers blow it in the playoffs, everyone starts with the McDavid trade rumors. He's not going anywhere. He was quoted as saying, you know, when someone asked him if he wanted to leave, he's like, that's not the case at all. We have a great core. So I wouldn't anticipate him going anywhere else anytime soon.
Lies.
Yep.
He's probably not going anywhere.
The NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman, said he is upholding Nazem Kadri's 8-game suspension. So Kadri, I guess, now can appeal the suspension to a neutral arbitrator who will have the final say. But to be honest with you guys, I think by the time this goes through another appeal, they might be done with the 8 games. So
yeah, he serves his 4th game tonight, so you're already halfway done. And
is that really his 4th game already?
Tonight will be.
I don't think they play tonight. I think they play tomorrow. Oddly enough. Yeah, they have like 2 days off, but yeah, either way.
That's dumb. Great job, NHL, by the way, for scheduling a 7 and 7:30 game on Memorial Day. You did an excellent job on that. That's what everybody wanted to see.
Yep.
And they were both really exciting games, honestly.
Yeah, it was great that you could watch both at the same time. You know, that was perfect. They lined it up.
The intermission thing worked out nicely.
Yeah. Gotta love that. Seth Jones informed the Columbus Blue Jackets that he won't sign an extension with the club once he's eligible. This is from Elliot Friedman. Friedman added that Jones could always change his mind, but it appears he wants to test the open market. He's a UFA for the first time in his career following this past season. Why would you not want to get out of Columbus when you could?
Yeah, that's honestly funny. And also, like, of course.
I'm going to get paid by someone. Don't know who. I don't really... You know how usually when we talk about like free agent rumors or trade rumors, I have a jersey that some guy fits in that comes to mind. It's like totally random. I don't have that with Seth Jones. I have no idea where he would actually go.
At this point, I'm just going to assume it's like the Bruins until it's not.
I was going to say Philly.
It's just going to be like one of those teams that it's like, oh, really? You're getting him? Great.
Yeah. It's going to be in the East though. Just
of course.
Yeah.
Where else would it be?
And just before we get into recapping all the playoff series and everything, we just want to remind everyone and keep you up to speed that the brackets are set for this next round.
The third round.
The winner of the Avs and Golden Knights will play the winner of the Habs and the Jets, and the winners of the Islanders and Bruins will play the winner of Tampa and Carolina. So we do sort of know who will be playing who. or at least what corner will be playing what corner.
Correct. We just don't know like who's home and away.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
This could turn out to be a Final Four that's so boring.
Yeah.
Like we got to be careful here.
Yeah.
Because you get Avs Vegas, which is like everyone's so amped for this series, although game one was a little bit of a slaughter, but I would imagine that, there would be some type of response going forward.
It'll even out, I think. Yeah.
But whoever wins that is going to play the Habs or the Jets. And I'm like, no offense to them, but like
whoever comes out of the North is just
fucked.
Toast.
Yeah.
Well, it was Habs Jets, just like we all predicted, right? So,
then the other time on the other side, you have Tampa and Carolina. And it's like nobody wants either of those teams to win the cup right now. Like nobody wants that, but nobody wants the Bruins either.
I would rather have the Bolts or the Canes win instead of the Isles or the Bruins. I can't
at this point, I think I got to be all in on the Habs. Really?
Yeah, you can.
Time for Carey Price to go get his cup.
I think Jets Habs is going to be a wild series, but
I have no idea what to predict.
I know we joked about that being the most boring series with Rick, but like I actually think it'll be sick too.
I do too.
Price versus Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. There's always some type of storyline that you can follow, but
I just feel like we don't get I feel like in the 90s and early 2000s you got all these big like marquee goalie versus goalie matchups.
We never get that now.
Right, you don't get that anymore.
Right. Let's recap the round one series, and then we'll get you guys up to date on what's going on for round two and what we think is going to happen in the North Division.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the Preds and the Canes. This going back to when this was still a thing. The Canes take a pivotal game 5 after being down 2-0 in that game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then ended up winning it in overtime on Jordan Stahl's rebound goal. So Jordan Stahl still making an impact, and Eric Stahl, really, like, where did this come from?
Jordan had a great round one. I think he had like 4 goals.
Yeah. And then the Canes take it home in game 6. Aho gets it done in overtime. Just a ton of overtime games in this series.
Yeah.
This was a really fun series, honestly. It was one of my favorites from the first round.
And ironically, it's sort of the one that I was writing off at the beginning. Like, I'm probably not going to pay attention to this one as like much as like, some of the ones in the East or in the North.
Totally. I'm sad about the way it ended, but the better team won.
Yeah. So as we know, the Canes are moving on to play the Bolts, which has already started, but continuing with wrapping up with round one, I think, we need to talk about this. It happened last night. It's fresh in our minds. How the hell did we get here? The Leafs are up 3-1. They're up 3-1 again, and the Habs are moving on. So I don't know what to say about the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point. All I will say is this: I feel your pain, Leaf fans. And before everyone starts coming at me with, the Caps just won the cup and you don't know what you're talking about, and they haven't won the cup since 67. The Caps went through this exact same thing. They had like 4 playoff series in a row that they were up 3-1 and then ended up blowing. And it was sort of like exacerbated by that series they had against the Canadiens, where they were up 3-1 and then just blew it and rolled over and laid an egg in game 7. And that's what I saw last night. It's just, it's so similar.
I had a couple of buddies over to watch the game, and they were similar to what you're saying. They were saying to me, like, dude, you're a Caps fan. Like, don't you have some kind of empathy for like a team that has so much like playoff woes? And I was like, I know I should, but I just think it's really funny. During the handshake line, I felt a little bad. I was like, this is a little bit of a bummer. I do feel for them, but it's also kind of funny. You got to admit.
Oh, it's funny. It just sucks. I can't believe I picked these guys to win the Stanley Cup. That of course, that's just the way things are going recently. I mean, between the Oilers losing me half my savings and then the Leafs just making me look like an idiot, Canada's really doing me well for round one. But it's just such a typical Canadians way to win. Like, the second the first period ended and it was 0-0, I was like, they're fucked. Like, there's no way the Leafs are going to win this game. It's just not going to happen, because it was exactly what it looked like in the bubble qualifiers when we played the Habs. Is Carey Price is going to make every timely save, and then God bless Jack Campbell. He played relatively well this series, but that Gallagher goal was a little bit of a softie. I think we can all admit that. I'm sure nerves played a role, but once that happened, I was like, they're not going to be priced. There's no way.
I think he even admitted that. I mean, did you see his post-game interview?
I did.
He said it was like one of the worst goals he's given up in his career or something.
It wasn't great. Just a 5-hole shot off the wing, no deflection, no screen. And then, of course, Corey Perry, a guy that nobody wanted to sign in the offseason, but the Habs took a chance on, scores the insurance marker to go up 2-0 in front of the net, per usual. Like, you can't script it.
I believe I saw a stat that said Corey Perry had more goals in this series than Matthews and Marner combined.
Yeah, because they had 1 goal combined.
Yeah, and I think Perry had 3 or something like that, or 2 at least. Yeah,
and I feel like that's something that we need to talk about, because how do you have $40 million invested in, or what is it? It's like 24 between those two.
Something of that nature.
Yeah. And
the bigger problem too is obviously they lose Johnny T in the first game, and then it's like everybody's being like, guys, don't worry. Austin Matthews is our guy. I know Tavares is our captain, but Austin Matthews is our guy. He's more than enough to step up and fill in for, what we miss with Johnny T being out of the lineup. And then he just didn't do that at all.
Yeah. So
Marner's on blast. I
think he's got to be the first piece that you look at immediately and you're like, what can I get for him? Like,
well, really? Yeah, because it gets interesting because, most people probably thought that was Nylander at the start of the year. He had an unreal series. He was
their best player all series long.
He's the only reason they were even like in that series, to be honest.
Yeah, he had, I think, 5 or 6 goals. I mean, he was the only one scoring, really. And he was doing that without Tavares.
And even last night, it seemed like he was the only one with any sort of jump in his step. I mean, you could tell towards the end of the game that Matthews really started to, ramp it up. But I thought Marner was like, it just seemed like he was panicking, which is very weird for him. So
they kept showing Marner on the bench and he looked so like triggered. He was just over there like, oh no, we're going.
Or just like, even like when he was in the ozone, they would be on like the power play, or they'd just have like really good zone time for like 20 or 30 seconds. And he's making a pass when he should have shot, or vice versa. It just didn't seem like he was there last night.
There was also one play where like Matthews was coming down on a 2-on-1 with somebody, and I wanted him to pass the puck so badly.
I know the play you're talking about.
And he decided to shoot it, which, okay, I get it, especially when you're down. It's like, we got to get pucks to the net. He just missed the net. Didn't deflect off anything.
You have to hit the
net.
Yeah.
So if you're going to miss the net at that point, at least try the pass and don't get a shot on goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Or at least just throw a muffin off of his pads for a rebound or something, just anything.
Well, and it makes you think, given the way the series went, once they had Caulfield and Suzuki and Kakiniemi all in the lineup, what would have happened if they were playing from the get-go? I mean, who knows? I mean, they took it 7. Maybe the Habs even take it in 6 if they start those guys. But they got a really quick turnaround. They got game 1 against the Jets tomorrow, June 2nd. So they're going to be playing like, let's assume that series goes 7. That'll be like 14 games in like 28 days. I mean, that's crazy.
Whereas the Jets have been twiddling their fingers ever since they bounced the Oilers.
Right. Yeah. So, the Leafs just completely fucking imploded. And it's kind of funny to see on Twitter. I really do feel bad for Joe Thornton more than anybody, I think.
And Rick.
And Rick. Oh my God, dude. His story was so funny. Did you see him on the balcony where he grabbed the chair? He's like, I'm going to chuck a hockey out here. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And then he's just, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That was so funny.
Did you see the, I was going to say, speaking of like Leafs Twitter and Habs Twitter, did you see the reactions from like outside of, Scotiabank Arena and the Bell Center last night?
I saw the ones from outside the Bell Center. I didn't see the Scotia ones. I would like to, though.
There was like a couple people that were just like walking out of the game and just like took their jersey off and like hung it on the statue and just left it there. It just went home.
Dude, that's when like, poor guys. I don't know. I also, who knows what's going to happen with coaching going forward. I think Dubas has done a really good job. Your GM can only do so much. He's built a pretty good team there, I would say. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Marner or Morgan Riley might be the first 2 that you look at and say.
Well, and losing Muzzin on the back end last night certainly didn't help them, but it shouldn't have sunk a team like that. So
right.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, by the way, in typical Leafs fashion, Montreal doesn't score a power play goal like the entire series. And then the one power play they get yesterday in the game, Corey Perry's in front of the net to score a power play goal. So
Did you see the stop that Price had on Nylander? It was a right pad stop.
Yeah.
I think
was
the
sick.
Leafs were on the power play too. It was just like,
And he was digging around in the crease for it there.
oh
He
my
got like 2 or
God.
3 opportunities all at
Yeah.
once, and Price was like, "No, just slammed the door."
Yeah.
they needed the crease monkey at that moment. But
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Mac,
sir.
they
Well, he
gotta
was in
sign you.
there though. He was in there though. Like he was doing what he should have been doing, and Price was just like, "No, dude, fuck you. I'm Carey Price."
Yeah.
true crease monkeys make it happen. But yeah.
Fair enough.
I think we've beaten down the Leafs enough that really was depressing to watch. But you want to move on to the Sunshine State?
Yeah.
Go Habs, go.
I give you credit, Mac. You called it. I wrote the Habs off completely.
It is kind of, one more thing before we move on. It is kind of funny that the Montreal Canadiens are once again into the like next round of the playoffs.
Mhm.
Like,
So
what are they
annoying.
doing here?
Just have no business.
They
being
should have
there.
packed
Yeah.
ship. I know we've talked about this and everything,
Yeah.
but it's funny.
Yeah, going back to the Battle of the Sunshine State, great effort by the Cats, but ultimately it's a matchup you're always going to lose against Tampa. I thought Spencer Knight was incredible. I would say hands down the MVP for the Cats. Maybe you could say Huberdeau, but
You almost wonder what would happen if they started Knight every single
from
game.
game one, yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what people were saying.
I think they solved their goaltending controversy. Now they just have to, figure out who's number two.
Yeah, and shed a $70 million deal with Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I think
Seattle
that's
Kraken. How would you like Sergei Bobrovsky?
Officer Sergei Bobrovsky. Anything else about the Cats Bolt series, or do we want to move on to the elephant in the room?
Kind of hard to talk about that one just because the Lightning already have game one under their belt against the Canes. But
Right.
Stamkos looks good. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Continuing with wrapping up the first round, we move into the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the New York Islanders. Harry, how we doing?
We've had some time to let it marinate, so not as angry as maybe if we had a live reaction. I was fully anticipating a loss in game 6 after the game 5 OT loss. I know I said that on the last episode. Just a complete meltdown, for lack of a better term, from Tristan Jarry in that game 6. I mean, he looked absolutely horrible. So yeah, it's disappointing. The Islanders are good. People write them off all the time, but we even saw it last night with their game against the Bruins with a really clutch OT win. They just hang in every game. They're never out of a game. They hang around, and if they get the lead, it's really hard to score on them. But Tristan Jarry just completely fell apart. I don't think there will be any major changes, aka like trading Malkin or Letang, which is fine to me. But I do think that they will try and go after a veteran goalie just to kind of have a 1A, 1B punch. I don't think they're going to, let Jarry go. He played pretty well compared to what I thought we were going to get after opening night. So, I can't be too mad, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I think the better team won. Maybe not on paper, but just the way they play is just, they're so stingy. So it sucks. That was my really PC way of saying I'm really fucking mad about it. So yeah.
Okay. My reactions were a little bit different. I think where I'll start is that was pretty much a neck and neck series. That was anyone's game until game 5. And after game 5, going into game 6, I saw the Penguins implode as a hockey team in that game. And that's something that I've never seen before, not in an elimination game like that. Like I've seen them roll over and turtle in regular season games before, but not like that. So that was weird.
Yeah, I think I don't know, the Islanders, we've seen it the last couple of years with Trotz's system. It's a tough team to beat on any given night. Trotz is a guy that knows how to win with whatever team he's got in front of him. And it's just one of those things that it's kind of tough. I like this note that you put in though about Pelech and Polak. That's kind of funny.
Oh, what did Pelican? Oh, yeah. So Pelican Pollock sound like a barbecue place you'd find in some like small quote unquote historic city in America, like somewhere in like, fucking Western Maryland that's like no one knows the name of.
It's
Is your
just like
brain just
a
like
counter.
Yeah.
yeah? Is your
Yeah.
brain just subconsciously saying that because Pollock sounds like pulled pork or something like that?
I think you
Probably.
might be right, but think of it. You go up to a barbecue place like, oh, Pelican Pollock. Like, yeah, like it just kind of rings. Has no real bearing on this series. The last thing I'll say, I am mad. I'm almost like not mad because in game 6, we scored the first goal and then we went up 2-1 and then we were tied 3-3. And like the boys showed up, like they really did. I give them credit, but Jari just let the balloon pop. I mean, it completely fell apart after the 4th and 5th goal. I think the Islanders went up 4-3, and at that moment you knew. And then 30 seconds later, bam again. So the team showed up. Jari played like shit, but I'm not that mad at him, honestly. I mean, it's his first postseason. I kind of really knew we weren't going to go all the way with him. I tried to convince myself of it, but
Do you honestly think that there will be a reunion between Marc-Andre Fleury and the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I do. And so does Elliot Friedman.
It would be so typical.
It
Yeah.
would be. I don't really know what else to do, though. Like, they're not, like I said, they're not going to trade the Tang or Malkin. I really don't believe that. I don't think they're going to fire Sullivan. So what do you do? Like,
What's Fleury's deal look like in Vegas right now? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
Nope.
I think he might have like 1 year left after this year. I don't quote me on that, but I don't know. Well, speaking of Fleury, I think we can move on to the Knights Wild series.
Yeah. So the Wild ended up forcing a 7th game with a dominating Game 6 win, blanking the Knights 3-0. And then the Knights just turn it around and steamroll them in Game 7. Matthias Janmark had scored just 1 goal since being traded to the Knights from the Hawks at the deadline, and he had 3 in Game 7. So that's what you call winning a trade right there.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over. Nick Hague, Max Pacioretty, and Zach Whitecloud also scored for Vegas. And then Fleury, playing in his 8th career Game 7, made 19 saves to earn his 85th playoff victory. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's 4-4 in his career in Game 7s now. So, he's going to need to have, well, assuming they start him in Game 2 against the Avs, he's going to have a big game because the Avs are clicking on all cylinders.
I was going to say he fucking does that in Game 7 and then he gets benched for Game 1, which I'm guessing was just, he's probably
load
tired,
management.
But still, that's a head scratcher either way. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you can load manage against the Avalanche. I'm not sure that's a thing.
I don't think you can load manage in the 2nd round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Right, exactly. That basically does it for the round 1 recaps. I know that's been done for a couple days here, but since it's been a couple days since we recorded, we just wanted to recap that. Now we'll get on to round 2. So the Islanders and the Bruins, Game 1, David Pastrnak just goes off and has himself a night. Records a hat trick in the win over the Islanders. McAvoy and Taylor Hall also scored, and Bergeron had a pair of assists for the Bees. All the big names that you would expect clicking in Game 1.
God, what a hateable team. What a hateable team. Like, seriously, all those names you just said, as soon as you said each one of them, I pictured their face as you said it, and I was like, I hate that guy. Oh, I hate him too. Like, all of them, they're just so frustrating. And like, I guess that means they're doing something right, but
I didn't even say Marchand.
I know, but I'm just thinking about like Taylor Hall and how frustrating that was. And I guess I'm just still salty that the Bruins beat the Caps, but
maybe a little bit. That's okay though. And then last night, Game 2, the Isles go up 3-1 and then blow it in the 3rd period. I believe Marchand and Bergeron had both the goals for the Bees in the 3rd period. That place was electric.
Dude, it's death taxes and 2 more massive playoff goals for 37 and 63. It's so annoying.
Yeah, but that being said, the overtime period, I don't know if you guys got to watch it. The Bruins, in my opinion, kind of dominated the play for the first 10 minutes. And I think it was like 5 minutes left in the first OT. I can't remember the defenseman. I think it was a left-hander at the point for the Bruins. I think his stick shattered, or the puck had a weird bounce.
He tried to go D to D, and there was like a crossing forward coming in between, and it literally just caught his skate and sent Cizikas the other way.
And then Cizikas iced the game on a breakaway in OT, top shelf, where mom keeps the cookies, and Jack Edwards cried himself to sleep last night. So
yeah,
such a sick goal to just silence that crowd, which by the way, as he said, was outstanding. That crowd
was nuts.
Super exciting to hear on TV and everything. And I'm sure it'll be similar, if not louder in Long Island, but
oh yeah, that game 3 is going to be can't miss stuff.
Yes.
You wouldn't think Islanders Bruins would be naturally that good of a matchup. There's not a whole lot of history there, but like,
it's great.
You talk about two diehard fan bases. I'll tell you that much.
It's diehard fan bases. No offense to anybody listening, it's scumbag fan bases sort of, and they both are just so physical. I mean, those teams can beat the living shit out of each other.
Yes.
So between like Matt Martin, and then you got Marchand mixing things up, Clutterbuck throwing it around. It's a great series. It's real physical. It's good hockey.
What's going on with the Islanders goaltending situation? Do we have any idea who they're going to start in the next game, or is it just like pick a card, any card at this point?
I think you go with the guy who just won. I guess you just stick with Varley until he plays badly again, and then go back to Sorokin.
He played really well last night. I'll give him credit, especially in that overtime period. There were a couple grade A chances, and he shut the door. So
that overtime was so sick. That was one of the best periods of hockey I've watched in a long time.
I agree. And it's true, Boston dominated play for a little while, but there was big pushes by the Isles too. It was kind of back and forth, especially right off the gate when it started. But no, you're right. That was a very exciting period of overtime. And you could almost just tell, like, from first round to second round, there's already that like added, like, holy shit. Like,
Well, even last night, it was just like, whoever got the best chance, Casey Cizikas, was going to win the game.
Well, and I feel like there's this understanding from both sides that, like, through the first round, we saw so many crucial overtime victories that literally you win a 7-game series with one goal like that, and so there was that understanding of, okay, who's going to get this big goal? Because I seriously said, if Boston won that game in overtime last night, no offense to the Islanders, it's over. It's over in the series. They're not built to come back from a 2-0 lead against the Bruins. They're not. And so that's a huge goal by Cizikas. Huge goal.
So I'll ask you guys this, and then we'll move on to Carolina, Tampa. We're 2 games in. It's knotted up 1-1. It's basically a best of 5 now with the Islanders having home ice. Who do you think is going to win that series?
That's so hard to pick. It's really, really hard to pick. I will say this, though. That Bruins team is playing some damn good hockey right now. And I was like sitting there last night watching overtime. I'm like, of course this team, who everyone was saying like might not even make it to the playoffs, is probably the hottest team in the league right now.
I know. I'm sitting here wishing somehow the Rangers had gotten it instead of them. I can't believe I'm saying that too. And Mark is probably like, give us shit for this, but goddamn, yeah, I have to agree. I think the Bruins will take the series. I will say, if the Islanders can get that game 3 victory, we'll see. But I expect the Bruins to win the series.
I truly want to say I think the Islanders will win, even though it's kind of funny because we're all I think you guys picked the Bruins to win and I picked the Islanders to win before the series started. Or no, it was the other way around, right? Hello?
Don't remember.
I can't even remember.
Yeah. I know we published it. Whatever. I don't know if we're flip-flopping or not, but
you asked me over the weekend, so that didn't happen.
Yeah, that disqualifies everything, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing.
Mac's like, I was grilling at 2 a.m. when you asked me.
Right. No. Right. Oh, who's gonna win? I don't know.
Dude, I'm grilling. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I want to pick the Islanders because I feel like they can, they got home ice. I feel like they're playing right there with the Bees. It's just, I don't know what the goaltending situation is, like you said, and you know what Rask is going to do in the playoffs. He's got the highest save percentage of all time or some shit crazy like that. So I guess I'm still going to end up picking the Bees, I think.
The only way I could stay happy about the Bruins like remaining in the postseason is if it results in a Bruins Canadians Cup final.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that would be electric.
yeah.
That would be great.
Could you imagine if Montreal somehow, some way,
Carey Price, Tuukka Rask,
right?
I'd shit
give
myself.
the people what they
Yeah.
want.
That would be awesome. Moving on to the Central Division, we got the Lightning versus the Hurricanes in Game 1. Vasilevsky did Vasilevsky things, and what else is new, right? So he looked incredible, and then Braden Point scored for the Lightning, and they basically weathered a onslaught from Carolina to start the game, but the Bolts end up pulling out the dub 2-1. Goodrow how do you pronounce it? Goodrow. I said
Yeah.
Goodrow. Goodrow ended up having what? I think it was like a 5-hole goal that was just like so random from like below the faceoff circle or some shit. Nedeljkovic probably kicking himself over that one, but Canes looked good. They outshot them 38-30. I think that they played a pretty solid game, but in typical Tampa fashion, they have the best goalie in the league. They have probably the most potent offense in the league, and they find a way to win.
That's how they beat you, man. It's like if they're not just going to come out and put 6 up on you, Braden Point's going to get this massive goal halfway through the third period, and it's just going to suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to root for in this series. I don't want either team to win.
Same.
Can they both get eliminated?
Right.
I'm sensing a lot of hate from Mac in this these Eastern teams. It's kind of funny.
I mean, yeah, when the East is just as tight as it's been and the Metro and all that for the last couple of years, it's hard to really like any other teams that aren't your own.
No,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'm like looking at this going, this is bad, but I'm already sort of looking at this series like who could play who after this?
Yeah.
Like what matchup would I rather have?
Yeah.
Right. So you would have the choice of Tampa, Carolina, or Islanders, Boston. I think Tampa, Boston would be pretty sick.
Tampa, Boston would be good. Islanders, Tampa is a rematch from last season,
year.
right?
That's
it
true.
is actually.
Yeah.
That would. You're right.
That could
people
be
forget.
good, actually. Yeah.
I think the Canes. I'm not going to write off the Canes though. I know I picked the Lightning to win the series, but they played very well in Game 1, and I have a feeling they'll somehow sneak out Game 2, and they'll end up taking the series back to Carolina, which has been just a wild barn to play at so far.
That's probably a solid value pick on the money line tonight. I would imagine.
Yeah.
If you're really ballsy, I would imagine the series price for the Hurricanes while they're down 1-0 is probably pretty fat
true too.
So, Nick, I know you sent us that ticket that you saw on Instagram yesterday, but that one Habs fan put what, like $100 in the Habs when they were down 3-1, and he ended up cashing out like $3,200 or something.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Find those value picks and seeing where they can take you. But you guys got anything else in this series? We've only had one game so far, so a little less to talk about.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I fully expect the Bolts to win this one.
Oh.
So
okay. All right. Well, moving on to the Canadian division, just like the entire world predicted, the Winnipeg Jets and the Montreal Canadiens. No, the refs did not fix round 1, like us and Rick said. The two teams just straight up beat McDavid and Matthews matchup. I know this would probably be a little more hyped up if we had those two, but any initial thoughts? And I'm going to put you all on the spot for predictions as well.
Yeah, I mean, we said it before. I'm excited for this goaltending matchup. It's going to be a true test of what goalie can carry their team a little better. Because to tell you the truth, if you look up and down the lineup of the forward core and the D core for both of these teams, it's not all that impressive. It's really not on paper, at least. But both teams have a lot of guys that have been in the league for a little while. I mean, talk about Corey Perry, talk about Eric Stahl. And then on the other side, we were talking about how long like Matthew Perreault has been in the league, and some of those other like bottom 6 forwards for the Jets definitely have some mileage on them too. So I don't know. It's an interesting matchup. I kind of don't know what to expect. I'll let Nick give his thoughts before I say my official prediction.
I mean, it's this marquee goaltending matchup, and then you talked about how the D cores aren't great. Then you start to look at the forwards, and The Jets have some big bodies up front, Scheifele, Wheeler. Those guys can go in and mix it up. They've got guys like Dubois down the middle, Kyle Connor. Like, this team can hurt you in a lot of ways.
How do you think Patrick Laine is feeling right now?
Not great. But I don't know. I mean, with the way that Caulfield and Suzuki and Toffoli have been playing, who knows? So honestly, this is a coin flip in my opinion.
Suzuki looked really good last night against the Leafs.
Yeah, I think this has 7 written all over it. I think they're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It's weird. If you asked me like on paper who I would pick, I'd probably say the Jets. I just feel like they've got some established names who have gone deep in the playoffs before. I mean, in 2018 when they lost to the Knights, when the Caps won the Cup, I thought the Jets had a better team on paper. I think we all did because nobody expected Vegas to do anything that season. But I think that kind of still haunts them. They have some veteran leadership. They got Wheeler. They got Scheifele. Morrissey looked really good in the Oilers series. However, I don't know why. I just feel like somehow, some way, the Habs are going to pull this off, and I don't really have any explanation for it. It's the Carey Price factor, I guess. I mean, I know Hellebuck can steal it too, but I feel like Price. I just saw him literally rip the Leafs' hearts right out of their chest.
I might have one explanation for it, and it similar to what you're saying about the Vegas Knights and their first year in the league when they went to the Cup final against the Caps. I think that this is a team that really thrives off of being the underdog. And they like you said, what they have in common is they have a sick goalie who's been here before, right? And Carey Price versus what the Knights had Marc-Andre Fleury behind them. And you look at that Knights team, it was a bunch of guys that had gotten scooped up from other teams, and they were a bunch of kind of misfits that the teams didn't want.
Kind of what the Habs are, yeah.
Exactly. Like the Habs have found their way to be a bunch of guys that like kind of found their way into this other lineup that weren't cutting it for their other team or were on bad teams and got dealt at the deadline or whatever. You got Toffoli. I mean, obviously he's a world-class player, but this is his first year on a new team, right? And he's been moved around quite a bit in the last couple of years too. So I don't know. I think they have something to prove. I heard it on the game last night. They were saying that when the Canadians came to Toronto to play Game 7, they had just packed for Winnipeg because they were like, yeah, we're winning this game. Like, I don't know. They have a lot of confidence and some swagger right now, and I kind of like their attitude.
One factor I don't think we're also considering is that Winnipeg hasn't played in front of fans all year, and the Bell Center now allows fans. And I don't think, to my knowledge, Winnipeg will. So all of a sudden, home ice, it kind of tilts a little more towards Montreal.
And I don't know how it's such a shame because the Jets crowd is just
it's awesome. That whiteout crowd they do is sick.
So electric.
I don't know how it works like province by province, but you would kind of hope that Manitoba's not too far behind Quebec, but who knows? I don't know.
I have no idea, but all right, predictions. Enough pitter patter. What do you got?
I think there's something about this Habs team. I think they get it done.
Habs in what, 7?
Yeah.
Mac?
Habs in 7.
I hate that I want to agree with you guys. I feel like Habs in 6. I'll say 6 just to be a little different. I mean, a game 6 probably go to like fucking overtime, and Carey Price will make like 3.
Watch the
stops.
Jets just sweep them again.
Yeah, honestly, like we just keep discounting the Jets. I don't know.
Connor Hellebuck just no.
Right.
I don't think
right.
So.
Whoever wins this series, either team,
God,
your fan base needs to consider this winning the Stanley Cup based on how you played this season.
You've gotten as far as you can.
Yes.
Now, good night.
Because they're gonna get steamrolled by
Yes.
Colorado or Vegas, but yeah.
And the last series, Colorado versus Vegas. We have Colorado up in this series currently 1-0 after a complete shit stomping in game 1. The Avalanche erupted for 7 goals and ended up beating the Knights 7-1. Nate McKinnon ended up making the gameplay sliders go all the way slow for the Golden Knights, and then turned his up to 99 rating for speed and just went right by everybody for a gorgeous goal that probably took over the internet and started who's the best player in the world debate all over again, per usual. Why did Lehner start? I guess we touched on that, load management.
This is a head scratcher, in my opinion. You take a guy who looked as good as Fleury did in that 7th game, and you go, okay, thanks for the memories, but we're going to give it to this guy who hasn't seen a game in the postseason yet.
It's an unforced error. It's them thinking too hard about the fact that they have 2 guys, and Lehner technically deserves to be starting too, because he's a world-class goalie. But yeah, they overthought this one. It's a classic. Don't fix what ain't broke.
Exactly.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let Marc-Andre Fleury play his game until he can't do that. I know, we talk about load management. Fleury, as far as I've known this guy to be, he wants to play every single night. Like, this is a guy who loves the game so much. He'd play all 82 games if he could, So I highly doubt that it was him being like, hey coach, I'm not good to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That being said, I've been hard on this Avs team this whole time. I've been the one saying I don't think the Avs are the real deal. I was the one saying I think Vegas was going to absolutely stomp the Avs after the Avs had an easy time with the Blues and the Knights had a tough series with Minnie. Did I feel like I should reconsider after game 1? Maybe a little bit, but I'm not ready to jump that boat just yet. And in fact, I did hammer Vegas to win the series after that game, because they're currently at plus 350 to win the series, which is
you know what, dude?
Darn good.
Honestly, for a team that finished 2nd in the NHL after the regular season, if you can get them at plus 350 after one game, that's a good.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even if you don't believe it's going to happen, it may be worth tossing one unit on, which is all I did. I mean, I do think there's a good chance that I'm wrong here and that the Avs are just going to prove me wrong. And I'll tell you what, if they do win this series, I will finally buy into them being the real deal, because this Vegas team is a good hockey team, and that's why I think that they should win, but we'll see what happens.
Also, like, I know they got shit pumped like 7-1 in game 1, but it's still just one win. It's still just one game. So.
Yeah, it's exactly. If anything, I would say that almost plays better for Vegas. The fact that they got embarrassed and now they're not going to let that happen the rest of the series. I think that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I think you give now that MAF has actually had that rest. I mean, whether he should have gotten it or not is besides the point at this point. But yeah, now that he has that rest, we'll see what he does in game 2. I'm sure he's going to start. I mean, there's no way Lehner's going to go back in after that.
No, he should. And like you said, they got 2 days rest in between games, so he gets an extra day now.
Well, and the weird thing too is, like, since they started Lehner, you would have thought like after the 4th or 5th goal or something, they'd put Mark in, but it was almost like he was unavailable or something like that. It was almost like they decided like this is straight up maintenance day. Like
he's not playing
today.
Well, after 5-1, I feel like you might as well just let him.
That's true. I mean, then I guess what was the point of resting him in the first?
No, I get your reasoning though. Nick, I did not get to watch the game live, but I think maybe you have more on this than I do about the Ryan Reeves situation.
Yeah, so he was tossed and received a match penalty for, and this is the official definition, attempting to injure Avs blue liner Ryan Graves, and I think they roped Philip Grubauer in there too. So a match penalty, for those that don't know, unlike a misconduct, means you're tossed and you're indefinitely suspended pending a hearing. Reeves has since had that and has been handed a 2-game suspension by the NHL. What did you guys think about this?
I hated that play. It was just like, I don't know. It was just unnecessary. Like, there was not, like, Ryan Graves wasn't even doing anything. He literally was just standing there, and Reeves just took him down. I loved what Evander Kane said about a bigger punishment would be forcing Reeves to play 20 minutes a night or whatever. I really think this is a win for Vegas. Get this clown out of the fucking lineup and focus on playing hockey, you know?
Well, it's like you can bring a guy like that in to make an impact, but when you're playing probably the most offensively minded team and offensively capable team in the NHL, maybe not the best idea to have someone who's not as fleet of foot out there.
Well, and that's kind of what I completely agree. That's where I'm going to go with this is, if you're playing the Islanders or the Bruins or, any other heavy team, I mean, teams who have a lot of power with Martin, Clutterbuck, someone on the Bruins, I'm blanking right now, but like Richie or something like that. then you put that guy in. It has a place. You're trying to set the tone, but I don't really think the Avalanche, they're not built like that. They're not a heavy team. They're quick, they're fast, they're skilled, and I don't think Reeves really fits in and matching up against that.
No, that's a great point. I totally agree with that.
It's just like it's like the little stuff too. It's like turnovers. They're gonna strip them of the puck every chance they get.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm usually like kind of pro enforcer. Like I kind of think that there's still a spot in that for the game and setting the tone, but this was just kind of uncalled for. And I'm a little surprised it was only 2, to be honest.
I
thought it
kind
was
of
gonna
am
be-
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like 4. Or
I don't
something.
know. I mean, you look at the Kadri thing too. It's tough to compare these two things, but it does feel like, 8 versus 2 is not how I would compare those two.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only thing with Kadri is like if it really looked like he was going to decapitate the poor guy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, full speed and all that. I think
That's
with
fair.
Reeves, he's in a scrum. It's kind of still a scumbag move, but it was a
No,
horrific
for sure,
act.
yeah.
It was a horrific act of violence, as the New York Rangers would like to say.
Oh my
Correct.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh.
All right. So we know what Mac's stance is on Vegas having a chance to come back. Nick, what do you think?
I absolutely think they have a chance to come back. Who did I end up picking? Did I end up picking these guys for this one?
You picked Vegas, yes.
That's right. Yeah. I think they get it done in 7. There's just something about this team. I think they'll figure it out and get it together. And it's going to be a fun series to watch though. Have you seen that NBC's been calling this one like the battle of the best? Like
That's
the two.
That's kind of dumb.
I really don't like that.
That's like a kindergartner coming up with that.
Right. The battle of good hockey teams. Like,
Here's what I will ask you. Assuming Fleury starts, you guys taking money line game 2 Vegas? Do you think they bounce back?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I'll ride with that.
And take Vegas to win the series, everybody, if you're listening. Plus
Yeah, that's a good
350.
one.
Do it right now before they play again.
That's a fat price. I like that. Nick, I think you have a final word before we get rolling out of here. That's really pretty much covers all the round 2 series.
I do. Have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard that these picks were brought to you by the Maryland Mortgage Wiz. Are you planning on buying your first home this year? Get pre-approved and explore all your financing options with Dave, the Mortgage Wiz. Interest rates are at historic lows and down payment assistance programs are available. Stop running and put your money in a place that you can call home. Follow Dave on Instagram at Maryland_mortgage_wiz for more information. Dave is licensed in Maryland, Delaware, and Florida. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 3094.
Leading goal scorer and point scorer on the Empty Betters roller hockey team, who, by the way, is absolutely, jersey looks nice. I finally actually shipped those to you guys. So
Thank you.
that.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. The EB boys are rolling right now. I think we've won 5 straight, 5-1 on the year.
Nice.
3rd place in the division. So I would strongly encourage, and don't quote me on this, I need to double check this, but I believe fans are now back allowed into the rink. So my understanding, I'm still a rookie on the team, is that things used to get pretty rowdy at these games. Sometimes, you bring a couple buddies and crack a couple beers or something. But I would strongly encourage that once that is fully confirmed, we can get some fans out to the games.
That's awesome. Hey, speaking of which, I do have one real quick kind of funny story from my beer league that I'll throw in to close out this episode.
All for it.
So we didn't have a game this past weekend, which was good because I suffered a little bit of a back strain. I needed an extra week to recover. So
Yeah.
AKA I'm badly out of shape. But no, in the last game that we did play, which was almost 2 weeks ago now, some of our guys still don't have jerseys because we switched colors, which I think I mentioned at one point, but our team captain hasn't been able to be at the first couple of games. And so myself, as well as a few others, don't have jerseys, and we're just wearing something close to what we wear, but we wear gray. So it's kind of hard. Not everybody has a gray jersey. Like I've been wearing white, but this other kid, he only had a black jersey. So he's like, I guess I'm going to wear black, but the other team was like blue. And so we get out there and the ref drops the puck. And for some reason, we only had one ref too. And we were like, okay, this is weird. Normally we have 2. This poor guy, he drops the puck and not 30 seconds in, he like blows it dead and he's like, whoa, 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 and everybody's like, what? Like what's the whistle for? Like everybody's looking around, nobody knows what the hell's going on. And he motions like the too many men on the ice thing, and everybody's like, for which team? And he's like, dark. And we're like, who? And he's like, this guy. And he's pointing at the guy on our team who's wearing the black jersey. And he's like, too many men on the ice. There were only 10 skaters on the ice total. But I guess he saw who was our guy wearing a darker jersey and called them for too many men. And so like we ended up getting a power play out of this and scoring a goal. And the other team wouldn't like let the ref hear the end of it.
Holy
He's
shit.
like,
That's so
bro, there were 10 skaters on the ice. No, neither team had
Oh
too
my
many
God.
men. And we tried explaining it to him too. Like even our team was like, yeah, dude, like that was not too many men.
Yeah.
And I guess he was just too like prideful to go back on what he said at that point. But he did make our guy like go put a different jersey on after that.
Okay.
Which
That's
was
so
kinda
funny.
But yeah, it was just a weird thing I've never seen before, where there's literally factually the right amount of guys on the ice and that somebody gets too many men call.
He probably just got confused. That like I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
kinda
feel
funny.
for him a little bit, but yeah, it was ridiculous. We ended up winning that game by 1 goal too.
That's weird. I didn't know they got the refs from the Caps and Bruins series to ref your beer league.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. I know.
Speaking of uniforms and just like in general, so one of the big things in this roller hockey league is like teams get customized pants. And for those of the listeners who don't know, what like when you wear roller hockey gear, you wear a pair of long pants. It's not like shorts and socks for in ice, so you can kind of get funky with it. And some teams, I think there's one team's called like the Fire or some stupid elementary shit like that, and they just like put flames up the side, which just looks awesome. Just team name kind of sucks in my opinion, but. For us, I would like to hear ideas as to what the EB crew should put on their pants.
Dollar
How
signs,
would
baby.
that look? I was thinking like purple and yellow dollar signs down like down the side. It would look so fresh.
That sounds tight.
Yeah, so something that we'll have to look into. If there's any fans out there who have any good ideas, let us know. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. We really appreciate everybody who bought summer merch from the
Yes.
drop. That was a big hit. Seems like you guys really like the Miami Vice edition stuff, so that's been a big hit for us, so we appreciate the support. And if you haven't seen that stuff already, then you can go onto our store and see the new summer line at the top of the shop. You can go to emptybetters.com and then click on shop and it'll take you right there, or you can go onto any of our social profiles and the link tree will help you get there. So
Yeah, guys, it's June 1st. The summer is officially here. I know you guys want to rock all that sweet ass merch on the beach all summer long. So
Yeah.
go grab some.
And don't be left out because that stuff's not going to be up there forever. So there's still availability. So get it while you can.
That's right.
all right, everybody. Well, we appreciate the support. Good luck with your round 2 betting. We'll be on the Twitter. Mac hit a huge plus 640 parlay last night, so we appreciate his support. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.